about Blue Flag, about water sampling, and about everything that we're going to be chatting about today. So with that, welcome everyone, and Elise, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Shane. And thank you all for joining us today on this beautiful day wherever you are. Hopefully it's as beautiful as it is in Toronto today. So I'd like to welcome all of you to the Blue Flag Volunteer Control Visit training session for Blue Flag Beaches. So this is the 2 to 3 p.m. session in Toronto. It might be a different time zone for many of you on July 30th. But first I'm going to introduce a little bit about Swim, Drink, Fish. So we are a Canadian charity working towards swimmable, drinkable, fishable water for everyone. And we do this by using citizen science and communications technology to inspire people just like you to know how to safeguard your local waters. Blue Flag Canada is one of our newest initiatives, and it's helping connect millions of people to environmentally friendly beaches and marinas across the world. Firstly, thank you to all of you for signing up to be a Blue Flag volunteer for beach control visits for the summer of 2020. Hopefully you've all watched the orientation video that was sent by email on July 23rd. If you didn't receive it though, please let us know and we will definitely share that again. It gives a great example of what a control visit will look like. This training session here is the second step to your journey to completing your control visit in August at your selected Blue Flag beach. During this training session, you will learn a little bit about the Blue Flag program across the world and in Canada. And we'll also provide you with an overview of how this one day will look when you're out there volunteering while you're doing the control visit. We will then go through the detailed questions that you'll be answering during the control visit at the beach as well. And all those questions are in the form that was shared by Shane. So this part's a recap from the orientation video, so I'll move through it swiftly. But the Foundation for Environmental Education, also known as FEE or FEE, which is located in Denmark, developed the Blue Flag program and criteria to guide beaches towards best management practices for the environment, the water, and also people. Blue Flag certification demonstrates a community's commitment to providing a clean, safe, and accessible waterfront to everyone. So around the world, Blue Flag communities are respected for being among the best places to live, work, study, and play. And we're lucky to have them also in Canada. So FEE is an international non-governmental nonprofit organization that supports and helps manage the Blue Flag program across the world. The Blue Flag program started in France in 1985 and has been implemented in Europe since 1987. And in areas outside of Europe since 2001 when it started in South Africa. So today, Blue Flag has become a truly global program with ever-increasing numbers of countries participating in it. At the start of 2020, Swim, Drink, Fish became the national operator, so we became the national operator of the Blue Flag Canada program. The Blue Flag program is the leading program promoting environmental education and sustainable management for beaches across the world. So in the international community, the Blue Flag is highly recognizable, particularly in Europe. It's very respected as a symbol. When you see the flag up at beaches, it's very, the public connects to it greatly. Currently, there are 4,664 flags flying in 46 different countries around the world. And in Canada this year, Blue Flags were awarded to 29 beaches and 9 marinas for the 2020 summer season. So we have some great spots across Canada to visit. You might be wondering why Blue Flag is so trusted and respected across the world. The main reason is that each flag is awarded for 1 year only. Everyone must reapply each year and prove that it continues to meet the Blue Flag criteria. And these criteria are divided into 4 important categories. Number 1, environmental education. 2, water quality. 3, environmental management. And then 4, safety and services. And these criteria are there to challenge local authorities, municipalities, and beach managers to achieve high standards in each of the 4 categories. We'll be looking in more detail at these criteria. Another really important method to maintain the credibility of the blue flag symbol at beaches is control visits. So this is something that you folks have volunteered to help us do this summer, which is amazing. Control visit, so by using a standardized blue flag beach control visit form that we'll go through today, you will visit your assigned beach in August to check to see if the blue flag criteria are being met. Control visits are essential to ensure that blue flag remains a trusted and respected symbol across Canada. We want to emphasize that control visits for blue flag sites are done by volunteers across the world. So if you're intimidated by some of the training here, please don't be. It's done by everyone, all sorts of people all across the world. It doesn't require an expert background in anything, and it is an amazing way to become part of a global network of people learning about their local beaches and marinas. But if at the end of the training session you have questions or concerns about completing the control visit, we are here to help you and guide you and support you through this when the day comes to visit the beach and beforehand as well. So please feel free to reach out at any point. So why do we do control visits? So it's important to understand why we do them at the beach. The control visit you will be doing is important because they help ensure that blue flag standards are being maintained at all the certified beaches. They're conducted to help identify and report areas of non-compliance at the beach to the beach operator, so the person managing the beach you're visiting, Blue Flag Canada and Swim Drink Fish, as well as Blue Flag International. And the Foundation for Environmental Education. So it's important to keep in mind that the control visits, they aren't meant to be policing the beach manager. So they're meant to be helped maintain and enhance the standards of the beach. So we're not out there to go, get them essentially. What we really want to emphasize is that they should be a collaborative effort. So we're working with these people, and they should be really enjoyable, and there should be education elements to it, and everyone should have a good time when they're out there conducting the control visits. So the benefits of doing a control visit, in addition to identifying non-compliance, after you submit the control visit form, Swim Drink Fish will assess your responses against the blue flag criteria. These control visits are important because they help improve the communication between Swim Drink Fish, Blue Flag Canada, as well, and the beach operator. At the end of the summer, the information you gathered as volunteers will help us produce short reports for the beaches that were visited, and they are there to highlight the best management practices that you're seeing, and also helping identify any improvements that the beach might need in order to maintain the blue flag standard. So during this visit, you'll go through each question on the control visit form while walking along the beach and filling in observations. The questions on the control visit form refer to the blue flag criteria, and we encourage you to give any additional comments and observations at the end of the form. There's a comments section there. It is highly recommended also that you emphasize the good observations, and then also on the form, provide any suggestions for further improvements. So you don't necessarily, if you're doing the visit with a beach manager, need to tell the beach manager how they can improve. That will come to Swim Drink Fish, and we will write these reports and submit them to the beach operators. Before we launch into the actual criteria and what your day will look like, we want to briefly mention COVID-19. Everyone's well aware of what's happening across the world, but we do have COVID-19 measures at Swim Drink Fish that we will go through with everyone once they're assigned a site. These were developed by looking at federal guidelines, provincial guidelines, and municipal guidelines. These items here are things that we recommend that you do during your control visit. I won't go through them in detail here because they will be shared via email as well. But before your control visit, we do have a COVID-19 agreement that you must sign and submit to us. And then there's also a Google form with a questionnaire asking several questions about relating to, do you have any symptoms? Have you left the country in the past 14 days? And so on. And that form also has to be submitted the day before or the morning of you you going to do the control visit. And we'll touch base on this more directly when it comes to that, but this is just a reminder that we are keeping this in mind, and it's really important that we keep everyone safe when we're out in public and doing these visits. So what is your day going to look like? So the first thing you're going to do when you wake up on the day you're heading out to the beach is you're going to submit that Google form to us for the COVID-19 questionnaire. But after that, you're going to head to the beach, which is really exciting. Hopefully it's a beautiful day. At most beaches, beach managers have requested that they have a representative from the municipality or the beach attend the control visit with you. And if this is the case, we're going to keep in mind some of the precautions like social distancing and wearing masks. But in some cases, you might also conduct the control visit alone, depending on the availability of the site manager. So on your selected day, you'll arrive at the beach at the specified time, and you want to make sure that you pack your phone with the control visit form saved on it, and also make sure that you have something to take pictures with, so whether that's a camera or a smartphone. If you do not have a smartphone, or if you can't load the form on your form, we can use a hard copy. So just identify that to us before you head out, and we'll make sure you have the right form available to you. So you'll head to the beach and you'll start filling out the form based on what you're seeing on site. We also ask that you take a lot of pictures while conducting the site visit. This is great for social media, but it's also great for us to have eyes and ears on the beach. With photos, we can really get a better sense of what's happening there. And then the Google Forms automatically submit your answers to us. So they will be submitted as you go through if you're filling out the form on site. If you're doing it by paper, you will submit via email. And then photos as well, you would submit to us via email. So before I launch into it, we're gonna share this again. This is the form that will be sent out to you prior to your visit. And again, they will automatically be uploaded to us. But you will have to share the photos via email. The form is made up of yes and no questions, short answers, and lists for selecting what you're seeing and hearing during your control visit. So if everyone has it open, I might flip over to it, just in case there are people who don't have it open. But it looks something like this. Pretty self-explanatory. And then there's 6 sections here. So we have the background information. Oops, here we go. We have background information on section 1. We have environmental education on section 2. We have water quality in section 3, and then environmental management in 4, and finally safety and services. Section 6 is final remarks. This is where you can add in comments and other things that you can't submit elsewhere on the form. So any comments you have for us. We would love to get feedback for this. This is the first time we're engaging with volunteers to do these control visits. So any feedback on the form is really appreciated so we can improve on the next time we do this. So the first section of the form is going to be background information. I just want to confirm that you can see my slides because I did flip to another form. Okay, perfect. So background information, pretty self-explanatory. Date and hour of the visit, the name of the beach. You'll hopefully know this before you head out. The municipality, your name, the weather during the visit, and then if the site manager or staff met you, and also what their name is if they met you on site for the site visit. And then you'll launch right into environmental education criteria. So the first thing you're going to look for is if the blue flag itself is flying. So there's going to be a flagpole, and hopefully the blue flag is on that flagpole. If it is not flying, we have to figure out why. Likely if your site manager is doing the control visit with you, you'd ask them, why isn't the blue flag flying? It could be because water quality didn't meet the blue flag criteria, or they didn't have lifeguards in place. So there are reasons why the blue flag isn't flying, but we want to identify that. We also want to check the date on the blue flag. Each blue flag is stamped with that year's date to make sure that they're flying the correct flag for the right year that they were certified. So this year, obviously, it would be 2020. And then, does the blue flag beach have an information board installed on site? So this is what a typical board looks like. You can see on the presentation here. This is Tall Pines Marina in Kenora. And it'll have a bunch of information like a beach map and then blue flag criteria and other environmental education criteria. So you want to make sure that we have that they have that installed. And then for our end, it would be great if you could grab a photo of the information board for our records. You're going to then look a little closer at that information board. So we want to see understandable pictograms used on the information board and on the map. This is using pictograms rather than written content is important because it helps all beachgoers who might speak different languages and not be able to read English, understand the beach map and where there are important facilities available, lifeguards, bathrooms, showers, change rooms. So it's important that the pictograms are in place on the board. You want to check to see if the correct blue flag logo is used. On the form, there will be an example of what the blue flag logo looks like. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a blue flag with a circle in the middle. You want to ensure that the information about blue flag is available on the board. So this would outline generally the program and then also the blue flag criteria. So environmental education, water quality, environmental management, and safety and services. You also want to ensure that the correct contact information is on the board. So this includes swim, drink, fish contact information, our phone number, as well as the website, www.blueflag.ca. Also, there should be the Foundation for Environmental Education contact information, as well as the local authority, so the city contact on the board. The boards that are in place, a lot of them were designed in previous years and have different contact information. We are covering the contact information with stickers that have been sent out to all the blue flag beach managers. And so they should hopefully be on the board before the control visits are done. But if they're not, we would need to confirm with the site manager if they have the stickers and they just haven't had the time to put them up. We'll touch base more on that after if there's any questions. Also on the board or on another information board, it could be on a cork board somewhere, there should be a code of conduct for the beach. So this is talking about beach rules, like no littering, no dogs on the beach. Is there any sensitive habitat nearby that you shouldn't enter? So that should be posted on the information board or be available nearby. And finally, there should also be information about the natural environment available. So this can be on the information board, but it could also be across the beach on different little boards that you see. You can see on this picture here, Sand Dune Restoration Project, do not enter. This is at, I believe, Woodbine Beach. So you'd look for these kind of signs. And this is a great example of environmental education information for the public. Now we want to check to see if there are any environmental activities available at the beach. So as part of Blue Flag, the beaches have to offer 5 environmental education activities. However, due to COVID-19, it is very likely that these activities are passive engagement. So it could be something published on Instagram. So if you have the site manager with you, you can ask about this, but in some cases, the environmental education activities have been canceled, and this is at the discretion of the municipality and the beach manager. So there are procedures in place when this happens with Blue Flag International. We've contacted them about this, and they're okay with that. So if they're canceled, that's fine. We just want to confirm with the site manager that they're canceled due to COVID-19. And if they are planning to include them in the 2021 season. So before I move forward, I've just thrown a lot of information out there. So I want to check if there are any questions with Shane to see if we had any come through on the chat.
Hi everyone, Shane here. At least we have not had any questions come through yet, but just a reminder to everyone, please feel free to type them into the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. You can also see a link. It says ask on Lisa's screen. You can see a link at the top of the slide. It says ask a question. That's an alternative link you can ask questions. So either using the link at the top of the screen or the chat box, either one works. We'll see the question and we'll make sure we get it answered.
Thank you. Lisa, I saw one, I think, come through. Videos are great. Pictures, videos, any type of visual confirmation is always great. If you can grab it. Yeah, so definitely, should we ask the beach manager what they want to improve on? Definitely, if there's a rapport and you feel comfortable asking questions with the beach manager like that, that's definitely an option. Does the beach manager usually accompany us? So it's dependent on the site. In some cases, they have requested. So whichever site you're signed up with, you will be put in contact with the beach manager beforehand. And then if they will not be attending, then you can head out and do it by yourself. So we have a general question that I'll quickly answer, and then I might move on quickly, and we'll make sure to copy these and answer them at the end. But who requests blue flag status? So it's typically the municipality or the marina itself, but it could be community groups as well. We have this is, I think, something we're looking into in BC potentially, as well as Kingston. And so Swim Drink Fish is not a beach manager. We're considered the national operator. So we run the Blue Flag program in Canada. So the beach manager is likely someone from, if the beach is located in a provincial park, it would be the manager of the park would be considered the beach manager, or it's typically someone from the municipality where the beach is located. So it is typically one volunteer per visit, though we might, and you won't be joined together. It'll be, unless there's a request for that, we'd have to look to see if we can accommodate that. And then, but there might be multiple control visits. So we don't just need to do one at one beach. We could have several volunteers doing the same beach over the month of August. Okay, so that's, I think, the end of those questions. I'm going to move on into water quality. So this is category 2. This is a really important category for blue flag beaches. Blue flag beaches are known for their high water quality. So this means that they're passing provincial guidelines or local guidelines more than 80% of the time. So it's a good standard, high standard for blue flag. When we're talking about recreational water quality at beaches, for those who may not know as much, we're talking about bacteria in the water. We're looking at 2 indicator bacteria, E. coli and intestinal enterococcus. So these bacteria are indicator bacteria because they typically indicate presence of sewage, agricultural runoff, waterfowl poop, as well as dog poop. So these are things that are tested in the water on a weekly basis at blue flag beaches. Other locations do daily testing, which is even better. We want to emphasize that this is super important, and that blue flag, an important part of blue flag is making this information accessible to the public at the beach. So we'll go through what you're going to look at when you're at the beach. Water testing for bacteria helps protect the public and prevent waterborne illnesses at the beach. So in poor water quality, if beaches aren't passing standards, people, especially young children, the elderly, or immunocompromised, have a higher chance of getting sick if they're going in and swimming the water and swallowing a bunch of water. It could include skin infections, gastrointestinal, as well as eye, ear, throat infections as well. So blue flag beaches indicate high water quality. So it's something we're going to look at when you're actually at the beach. There should be information for the public there at the beach. So The main thing we want to look for is this could be presented on the information board or typically near the lifeguard stand. We want to look for information about the water quality results themselves. So this means looking for a whiteboard or a sign that gives you the level of E. coli and enterococcus that was measured in the water. So, and if you have more questions, we'll have questions following this, but if the water quality for E. coli, if the number is higher than 200, typically the beach would fail. And what we would hope to see is that there are red flags in place indicating that the beach has failed. The blue flag shouldn't be flying, so it shouldn't be up, and that this number is represented on the whiteboard. For enterococcus, you're looking for 500 enterococcus. So if it's above 500, the flag would have to come down and the beach would have to have a red flag posted. We also want on this board to make sure that the water quality data is no older than 1 month. So we can't have a longer gap of 30 days between samples. Typically, all blue flag beaches are monitoring weekly. So if there is a long gap between sampling, this is definitely something that we want to flag immediately, no pun intended. And then, is the water quality data in a format understandable to the public? So can the public go easily up to this board and see, oh, it's passed or it's failed? That typically could be presented with a red or green flag or an information sign saying that's in red, illustrating that it's failed water quality, or green, illustrating that it's passed. And that's typically posted near where they're presenting the actual data, as well as hopefully on the lifeguard stations with flags or signs. Finally, you're going to head down to the water itself, and you're going to do a scan of the swimming area. So we want to look to see if there's any pollution, visible pollution on the water that you can see. This includes oil films, any odd odors. It could be musky, fishy. It could smell sewagey, hopefully not. If there's foam, if there's scum, if there's any discoloration, so if the water is really murky or green, like bright green, doesn't look normal, we want to note that. And any floatables. So that floatables typically means litter floating in the water. It could be sewage-related items like tampon applicators or condoms. We really hope we don't see these at blue flag beaches. This should not occur there. And then, or other waste that might impact the beach and the water. So I saw a few questions come in. We'll open up the floor because this is an important section. Shane, do we have any questions?
Yeah, so I'll ask the one first about the water quality, and then we have a few from the last section. So do you count sunscreen oil as pollution?
So it's not listed as a pollutant on the blue flag criteria. However, if it is something that you see a lot of and there's pictures of it and you can grab a photo, definitely submit that. It could be something we need to look more into.
Thank you. Next question from Patrick. So say I've been assigned my beach. I'm a volunteer. I've been assigned my beach. I show up. Say it's not very nice outside. It's raining or overcast. Is weather a factor in the blue flag assessment in the control visit?
So that's a really good question. If it is thundering, if there's lightning and thunder, you cannot do the control visit. It's very dangerous to head out onto a beach during thunder and lightning. Our protocols at Swim Drink Fish is that you would, if you can, wait 30 minutes. If in those 30 minutes there's no thunder or lightning, then you can proceed with the control visit. However, what we can try and do is schedule them for days where there is not likely to be a thunderstorm or tornado or any warning like that. So we want to plan that out definitely, because it's not going to be nice if you're out there and it's pouring rain and thundering. Weather can impact water quality as well as litter. So if it's lightly raining and you feel fine going out and doing the control visit, it's still valid to do the control visit when it's raining, just not when it's storming. Does that answer the question? Okay, perfect.
Another question here. So what happens if there's a criteria on the form that the marina or the beach fails, how does that impact the blue flag status?
So the criteria are divided into imperative and guideline criteria. A major non-compliance is one that puts the public safety at risk. So if you're at the beach and you see that the water quality has failed, but the blue flag's still up, there's no indication to the public that you shouldn't be swimming in the water. What you would do, and everyone will be provided with this information, is you would call me. So you don't have to put yourself in that position to go to the site manager and say, oh, this is non-compliance, you need to take the flag down. We don't want to be doing that. We want to have, a very collaborative relationship. And then we would do a further investigation into what's exactly going on. So major non-compliance means failed water quality or outdated water quality. So if there's no water quality data presented, this is something that's important. So you would touch base with me right away. It could be done after the control visit. So you don't need to interrupt. You would just mark it down and say, no, there's no water quality data. And then we would touch base after the visit. If there are supposed to be lifeguards and the lifeguard seats are empty, this is another major non-compliance. This puts public health at risk. So again, after the control visit is complete, we would touch base. You'd have my phone number. You'd call me, and we would ensure Swim Drink Fish would follow up with the site manager. We don't want to put you in the position to, tell the site operator that they need to take the flag down. I don't think that's fair to ask of you guys. So definitely do what you feel is most comfortable, and we would touch base. So if there's a major non-compliance and it cannot be fixed within 2 days, then the blue flag would have to be withdrawn. And that's something that we would work out on our end, because we do need to work with Blue Flag International and the Foundation of Environmental Education, as well as the site operator, to see what can be done.
Thank you. Elise, maybe last question for this break. Are visible signs of algae or floating plant life considered a problem at a beach?
Yes, so we will go into the next section, which is environmental management, which we'll talk a little bit more about algae and nuisance algae, but it is a criteria that is included on this form. So we will be talking about that. And that's a good segue, because we'll launch right into environmental management. So environmental management. So main thing, first question, does the beach appear to be regularly cleaned? So we're hoping there's not a lot of litter on the beach, but there's going to be 2 ways that you measure this for us. It's relatively simple. You don't need a measuring tape. You can just estimate these distances, but you're going to try and find the dirtiest area of the beach. So the area with the most litter. Hopefully, because it's a blue flag beach, there is no litter and you don't even have to do this step. But you're going to scan the beach, and then you're going to mark a 10 by 10 meter area on the beach. You can do this by taking 10 big steps at 90-degree angles. And then you're going to take a photo of this area, and then you're going to count the litter there. So within that 10 by 10 meter area, you're going to enumerate on the form what you're seeing. So if it's 0 litter in that area, that's awesome. They get an A+. 1 to 3, A which is clean. 4 to 10, be moderately clean. 11 to 25, dirty. And then more than 25, I really hope we don't see any of D's ratings come in, but it would be considered very dirty. And I'm talking about, this section is for bulky litter. So that's water bottles, cans, anything, garbage bags, chip bags, typical things people may be bringing to the beach, cups, cutlery, that type of thing. And then within that 10 by 10 meter area, you're going to define a 1 by 1 meter area, and you're going to look at the fine litter. So this includes like cigarette butts, fragments of plastic that aren't easily manually picked up by hand, or any other small pieces of litter that you're seeing. And you're going to do the exact same thing within that 1 by 1 meter area, and you're going to give a rating. So for this, do your best at this. It doesn't have to be perfect. The best thing to do is also grab pictures. If you're seeing places with lots of litter and you're having a hard time enumerating it, pictures are great. So no, you don't need to bring tape measures. I would just take 10 big steps each way. If you want to take a tape measure, you can, but it's a best estimation that you can get out at the beach. So it's not too laborsome out there. Then you're going to want to check the garbage bins. So first there has to be garbage bins available at the beach. You want to also ensure that facilities for receiving recyclables are there and near the beach. And then you want to see if these garbage bins or recycling bins appear to be regularly emptied. So if they're overflowing and there's litter all over the place, that's definitely something you'd want to take a picture of. And then you want to give an estimate. Your best estimation is, are there enough garbage and recycling bins available on or by the beach? So if it's overflowing, maybe there aren't enough. So that's something that you would give a rating on. If it's very well maintained and there's no garbage anywhere, they likely have enough recycling bins there. And then you're going to look at 3 things that for blue flag criteria are prohibited on blue flag beaches. So driving is not prohibited on the beach. This is pretty standard of any public beach in Canada. Typically, cars are not allowed on the beach. Is camping prohibited on the beach? Typically, also at public beaches, it is prohibited. And then finally, are dogs prohibited on the beach? At blue flag beaches, dogs are not allowed on the beach during the swimming season. This is because dogs poop on the beach, and that poop can end up in the water and impact water quality and potentially make people sick. So how are you going to check if driving and camping is prohibited? Typically, that would be in the code of conduct. So that information should be represented in the code of conduct, as well as there might be signage and bylaws. For dogs, we know that having dogs on the beach is very popular, and we typically see it often. Anytime I go to beaches in Toronto, I do see dogs on the beach. So we want to confirm how these rules are being enforced, whether it's bylaws. Typically, it's bylaws at public beaches in Ontario. There might be signage. There could be park rangers who would be enforcing this, and park control, as well as lifeguards, though this is not their duty. Their duty is to watch the swimming area. And then for dogs particularly, you just want to flag, are there dogs on the beach right now? If there are dogs on the beach at the time you're doing the control visit, snap a quick picture of it. And then if you feel comfortable, you can ask the manager, how do they typically manage dogs being on the beach? Do the lifeguards ask them to leave? Is there, or do they just rely on the signage? So this is some information, if you feel comfortable gathering, we'd really appreciate. And then, so we're entering into the aesthetics of the beach, but we want to look at whether the surrounding natural areas are well preserved. So if there are sensitive areas like dunes nearby, or habitat for the fowler's toad, areas that are sensitive, we want to confirm that they're not being trampled on, that there's not litter all over them. So just making sure you're scanning those areas that might be roped off at the beach, and also grabbing photos. This is where we get into aquatic plants. So are aquatic plants, algae, and or seaweed a nuisance on the beach? A nuisance would mean that there's a tremendous amount lining the shoreline where the water breaks, which would impact people going into the water. So it makes it aesthetically poor. It doesn't invite people to go into the water, as well as if there's any smell. A little bit of algae on the beach is natural, but when it becomes excessive and impacts people connecting and going into the water, that's when we would have an issue. Sometimes the algae will be removed, and this is okay. It should be, if they can, it should be manually removed and left on the beach to rot away naturally. It shouldn't be removed from the beach, because you can be removing habitat for species who may rely on it. But if it's excessive, we would want a photo of it, and so you take a photo of the impacted area if there's algae. And then we want to make sure the bathrooms and change rooms are available and open. If there are no toilets available, this can impact water quality because people will either go find a place on the shoreline, in the bushes somewhere, or potentially even go in the water. So we want to make sure they're available and open. And in the case of this year, is there COVID-19 restrictions being followed, social distancing, and so on. We also want to confirm that the bathrooms and change rooms are accessible to persons with physical disabilities, and then confirm what types of bathrooms and change rooms are available. So whether it's porta potties or full facilities with flushing toilets and showers and change rooms. There should also be hand washing stations, especially this season, with soap and paper towel available. And then also just giving your rating on if there's a reasonable number of bathrooms and change rooms available. So if there are lines out the door, this could typically be a marker that maybe there aren't enough facilities for people. And then you're going to go have a glance inside the bathroom, just check to see if they're regularly cleaned. Again, this is particularly important during this season to keep the people's public health safe. And so you're going to go in and take a snapshot if it's not either way, if it's clean or not clean. And then you also want to give a rating if these bathrooms are easy to find. So they're not tucked away in the forest and people can't find them. Again, if they're not easy to find, people will find other places to go, like in the water. And then finally, same idea is just estimating how far the bathrooms and change rooms are from the beach in meters. This could be, you could also measure this on a Google map if you wanted to, but your best estimation is great. And then you would enter that information to us via the short answer. So I think we have maybe one more slide, and then we'll open it up for questions. Are the buildings and surrounding areas well maintained? So if the bathrooms and facilities are falling apart, or there's the stairs are dangerous for people to go up and down, there's hazards when people are in the bathroom, things aren't well maintained, we want to know this. If they're well maintained, that's great. And then also, is there sustainable transportation available at the beach? So this could be as easy as having bike racks or a trail running right by the beach, as well as public transit. So that's the third category, and we'll move on to safety and services, but I'm just going to check in with Shane to see if we have any questions.
Yeah, so a couple more have come in. Going back to an earlier question, should red or green flags be up at the beach only when lifeguards are on duty, or 24/7?
So red and green flags are typically only there. That's a good question. They should be there all the time. And the data should also be presented publicly online. In a lot of cases, it is on public health units, but as part of our programs, we have a website and app called Swim Guide, which also presents this data. So it should be available online, and we're helping facilitate that for Blue Flag site operators through Swim Guide. The flags should be in place during the whole day until the next water quality test either comes back better or the status changes.
Great. Next question. Does Swim Drink Fish have a preference for weekday or weekend control visits?
So some sites, the site managers do have a preference, and it's typically weekdays. The sites where site managers haven't specified, we don't have a preference. But I know, for example, with Sega, they get really inundated on weekends. And if it's going to be done with a site manager for them to be on site, typically it would be done during weekdays. We are going to keep in mind that we can do announced and unannounced control visits. So we can do a couple, one where it occurs on the weekday with the site manager, and then another one where we don't go with the site manager. It can be done on a weekend. So we're going to try and figure out people's schedules if they want to visit a site with the site manager, if they want to go just on their by themselves.
Thank you. And Patrick, if that was not the answer you're looking for, please feel free to clarify in the chat box and we'll make sure we answer it. Looks like the last question we have here, Elise, is if I show up for my control visit, if there's something worth noting outside the beach, so say a dog park beside the beach, how should I handle that? So it's not at the beach, but beside.
So there are several beaches that have enclosed dog parks near the beach, Cherry Beach being one, and then Kew Balmy in Toronto. And I believe Kanatara also has a dog beach or was planning to. If they're enclosed dog beaches with fencing around it, then that's okay. It's not part of the blue flag area. So it just cannot be part of where the swimming blue flag area is demarked. And we'll go over how you would know the zoning of the beach, so where it starts and ends. In the next section, I'll give you a little more clarity on what you'd be looking for. But typically, if there is a dog park, it should be a fenced dog park. So if you're seeing that it's not a fenced dog park, it would be something that you would say, no, dogs are not prohibited on the beach because the dogs can enter into the beach. And we would follow up with the site manager to see if we can figure out a way to get fencing there or to have that blocked off to avoid dogs going into the swimming area.
Perfect. And so it looks like we're at 2:50 p.m. now. So we'll, I think, keep going ahead. And if there are questions that we aren't able to answer during this session live, we'll make sure we'll get you the answers after the fact. So I'll turn it back over to you, Elise.
Perfect. So now we're into the fourth, safety and services. So this is a pretty important part. It's a major part of keeping the public safe when they're out there swimming. So first thing we want to see is the beach access free? Ontario beaches, from my knowledge at this point, are all free in Canada, the blue flag beaches. So if it's not, it's definitely something you want to mark down. And then is it safe to actually access the beach? So this means actually going onto the beach. Is the boardwalk safe to stand on? Or you'd want to check if there's erosion that makes it steep or hard to get to. And you would say yes or no to that. And then you want to check if there are lifeguards on site. Not all blue flag beaches have lifeguards, and this is okay, but the majority of them do. And we'll go over what the alternative is to lifeguards on the next slide. But you want to give a rating of, are there enough lifeguards to serve the whole beach? So you want to count the number of lifeguards that you're seeing. So it's typically 2 lifeguards for every 200 meters. And you'd hopefully have stalls there that you could count. And are they easy to locate? So do they have bright clothing on? Are the stands brightly colored? Or people can go and they know exactly where the lifeguards are to check in with them. And then we also want to make sure that the time when the lifeguards are present at the beach is posted somewhere at the beach. It could be on the information board, but it also could be on the actual lifeguard stall. So we want, or signage on the beach. We want to confirm that that information is available to the public. If there are no lifeguards at the beach, we want to make sure that the beach is equipped with life-saving equipment. So this includes easy to find poles with a life ring, a life hook, potentially a torpedo, like a floatable torpedo, anything else that you're seeing on these poles. And there should be life-saving equipment every 100 meters on the beach when if there are no lifeguards. We want to confirm that the life-saving equipment is easy to locate and that there's enough to serve the whole beach. Again, equipment every 100 meters. And then you would list the lifeguarding equipment that is included or select what is included at the beach and want to check to make sure it's working so the items aren't broken or things are not usable. And then you'd want to confirm if there's an emergency phone at or near the beach. And you want to make sure that it's within a reasonable distance from anywhere on the beach. So if you're thinking about there's someone in distress in the water and you need to get to the emergency phone, how long would it take you to run to the emergency phone and call 911? So that's what we're thinking about when we're thinking about a reasonable distance. Can someone get there quick enough so they can get emergency services out there? And then also check if there's first aid equipment offered at the beach. So this could be at the lifeguarding stations or at the safety equipment poles. But it could also be if there's a local office or at the bathroom and change room facility is a little office for lifeguards or beach managers. It could be located there as well. And then is the first aid kit sign posted and easy to locate? So typically this information should be shared on the information board and then also on with a sign posted somewhere so the public can know where it is. And then we want to specify the time at which it's available. It might not be there all the time. So if it's there when the lifeguards are there, if it's there during the beach is open, when the beach is open. Then we want to check to make sure the first aid kit is in working order. So if everything that we would need is there, so you just pop it open and double check. If you can't find it or it's really hard to find and you don't have a site manager with you guiding you, this is something that you would flag because you are a member of the public as well. And if you can't find it, beachgoers won't be able to find it. So something to keep in mind. And then is there a source of potable water that is protected from contamination by animals? In a lot of beaches due to COVID-19, the drinking fountains may be covered, and this has been addressed with Blue Flag International and the Foundation of Environmental Education, and this is okay due to being able to protect public health. They have issued public service announcements stating bring water bottles to the beach, so they are working with the public to make sure people know that they need to bring water to the beach. There are some beaches that have kept their water bottle stations open, so you just want to check to see if they are there and available if they have them. And then does the beach have a beach warning or beach zoning flags? So this is what I was talking about before, is the beaches, the start and the end of the beach, the blue flag zone should be marked with, I'm just going to flip to the next slide. Typically flags like this. In Toronto, it's similar flags, red, yellow flags that mark the zone of the beach. So between the two flags would be the blue flag beach. And then is the swimming area zoned to avoid boat and swimmer conflicts in the water? So typically this would be marked by buoy lines, ropes, or large plastic buoys. And sometimes at some beaches, lifeguards will actually head out onto the water in a rowboat with you while you're swimming. So we would want to mark that down to make sure that it's demarked. This is so if there are boats, they're not going to hit swimmers when they're swimming. Oh, perfect, Patrick. Got the answer. So that's, again, demarking the beach zone with flags. If the flags aren't there, you would simply say no, and we would follow up with the site manager. Swimming Fish would follow up. This is the last slide, so bear with me. I know we might be run over time for questions, but this is all about accessibility at the beach, and this is a really important part of Blue Flag. We want to really emphasize it. We want to make sure everyone can enjoy the beach and be able to go in the water if they want to. So is accessible parking available? Yes or no? Is there access to the beach for persons with a physical disability? So this could be with Moby mats, boardwalks, trails that wheelchairs can go along and move freely along. And then we want to know if there's access to the water for persons with a disability. So this could be done through Moby mats. So these are ramps that go directly into the water for people who need to use mobility devices, or also at some beaches, which is a really great best management practice. So if you do see this, there's wheelchairs that are equipped to be able to go on sand and into the water. So if you see those, it would be great to grab a picture because it's a great best management practice that we're seeing. And then this is the last one is a guideline criteria, but we do want to emphasize like this is also really important. If you're noticing any beaches that are implementing methods to where there's access for the visually impaired or blind people to be able to go into the water, this is something that is really important and is really great to see because we don't see it a lot in Canada. So if you do witness this and you're seeing it, definitely take a photo, and we want to highlight that because it's really quite important. So that comes to the end. I want to emphasize the time to conduct a control visit really depends on the size of the beach. Some beaches are very small and some beaches are very long, like Grand Bend Beach. And it's also dependent on how easy it is to find all the things you're looking for. So as a guidance, a typical control visit could take between 60 to 90 minutes. If you're getting close to that 90-minute mark and you're not able to locate a lot of the things you're seeing, this generally would indicate that the public might not be able to find the things that you need if you're not able to find them. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're struggling, definitely check in with me and we can go through things together. But 60 to 90 minutes should be the typical time it should take. So I think that comes to the end. Right on time. We'll open up to questions. I know it's 3, so if anyone has to leave, please feel free to sign off. And then you can email us your questions, follow-up questions. But anyone who can stay on, I'll check in with Shane to see if we have any questions.
No, I don't think we have any questions. Oh, so why are there only 29 flags? Why are there only 29 blue flag beaches?
That's a good question. So typically the way that we try and identify blue flag beaches is, so this is our first season doing this. The blue flag program was run by Environmental Defense prior to this. So I think typically the way they did it is they would run campaigns to encourage marina operators or municipalities to apply for blue flag status. But before actually being able to apply, we would have to check that they're actually meeting most of the criteria, because there is an application fee associated with just applying. So we don't want to have people applying who don't meet the criteria and they're paying this fee and then it goes to the national jury, and then Swim Drink to Fish doesn't decide who gets blue flags. We operate it, but we call a national jury of experts to decide whether a place should receive a blue flag. So we don't want to have beaches apply who aren't meeting criteria and they pay the fee, and then it goes to the national jury and the national jury says, well, they're not meeting any of the criteria. So those 29 beaches are the ones that have the best standards in place. So any other beach looking to apply has to meet all those criteria. And if they aren't, we wouldn't encourage them to apply. Does that answer the question? I'm not sure if that's clear. Good question, Patrick. It would be great if it's compulsory. In France, they have, I think, I don't know how many beaches, over 500 beaches. And it's currently not integrated into, let's say, the federal government or provincial governments. It's all run by across countries in the world. Typically, it's run by charities or NGOs. So having the capacity to make it compulsory isn't typically possible unless you're working with the government in some way.
So another question, Elise. So you've done this fantastic job with the training. So I'm a volunteer. When do I find out what beach I'm going to be visiting, and when do I find out the date that I should be visiting?
So the person that you have been conversing with the most is Sadie. So Sadie is the one who is keeping track of all the signups and for who's signed up where. So after this training session, we're going to meet next week and then assign places and send follow-up emails to all those who signed up. Keeping in mind, I'm going to flip to the next slide. We do have a lot of signups for specific beaches like Cherry Beaches. So for example, Cherry Beach in Toronto, we have 30 signups for that beach. So obviously we can't accommodate all those 30 signups. We will let you know if you have signed up for one of the beaches that we have a kind of surplus of people signed up for. There are several beaches that don't have as many signups. And I'm gonna just quickly, we're gonna send a follow-up email with them listed, but I'll say them here. So we don't have any signups for Abateaux Beach in New Brunswick. I know most people are located in the Toronto area, so that's a little off the beaten track, but there are several other beautiful beaches that we either have only one person signed up for or one person signed up for multiple beaches, and it would be a lot to ask them to do all those beaches. But it's Canatara Park Beach, Grand Bend Beach, Grand Bend Marina. I would highly recommend visiting Grand Bend Marina and Grand Bend Beach. They're both blue flags and they're stunning. We also need someone for Port Stanley Main Beach, Port Glasgow Beach, Spine Beach and Spruce Beach. They're located a little more north. The Ville de Magog, so that's in Quebec. And then in New Brunswick, again, Parley Beach. So Abateaux and Parley are stunning beaches in New Brunswick. If you have any contacts in New Brunswick or people who you might know who may be up for doing one of these, you can definitely get them in contact with us because they're beautiful beaches, and I'm jealous that I can't get out there and run the control visits myself. And then we have Shediac Bay Yacht Club, also in New Brunswick, and then the Halifax Waterfront Marina. So those are ones where we only have 1 or 2 people signed up for, but we have a surplus of people signed up for, Cherry Beach. So if you are a person who's signed up for Cherry Beach and you're potentially willing to maybe look into other beaches to go to, please let us know. Please register for other beaches so we can accommodate everyone. We want to make sure that everyone gets the chance to do a control visit. But we do have another option. So we've also had sign-ups for places in Vancouver, Edmonton, Oshawa region, and Ottawa. There are no blue flag beaches in these regions. So if you aren't able to, drive out to a beach because it's too far, you can use the control visit form. You can use the control visit form to go out and do an assessment of the beach. You don't need to meet the site manager or anything. You could go to the beach and run through the form like you would doing a control visit, and then that would be submitted to us, and we could get a good idea of if this beach is likely to meet blue flag standards. So that's something else definitely you can do. And if you want to volunteer, but you're not close to a beach and you can't get there, this is definitely another option for the local beach in your municipality. So I'm going to turn it back to Shane because I think some more questions came in.
Yeah, so I think you've done a great job. There was a question, so those beaches you were mentioning, so I think we could probably send a list of those beaches in writing in our follow-up communication. So if people have the ability to travel to some of those other places, we can share those. And just so, yeah, if people are using public transit or walking or cycling to the beach, is that something that they should indicate, Elise, if they don't have a vehicle or access to a vehicle? Definitely. If you want to let us know how you're getting to the beach, if you're biking, that's great because it means that it's an accessible beach by bike. If you are using public transit, the COVID-19 agreement will go through this, but we do encourage wearing a mask, social distancing, and following protocols like that. But yeah, you can definitely let us know how you're getting there for sure. Great. So I think that looks like that's all the questions we have so far. I did share Elise's email address in the chat box, Elise, ELISE @swimdrinkfish.ca. So please feel free to send any questions to her after today's session. We will share a recording of this presentation. And I think, yeah, on behalf of Elise and I, we can just say thank you again very much for sticking with us through this hour of training. This is just the starting point. The exciting part, visiting the beach, is yet to come. And Elise, when should people expect to hear from us next?
So I'm hoping that Sadie and I can work out scheduling with everyone by the end of next week. If you have not heard from us, please do reach out. We have a lot of emails coming in, so feel free to poke us if you haven't heard from us. We want to accommodate everyone and make sure everyone has a good experience and can get out there. Thanks, Jane.
Perfect. Once again, thank you for attending. This Blue Flag program would not be possible without these control visits. So please do not underestimate your impact in Blue Flag Canada in making this all possible. And with your support, we're really able to connect more people to water across the country. So perhaps at least we can call it there. And we have email addresses, and you're welcome to visit our website for more information, but we're here to support you. So thank you again, and have a fantastic rest of the day. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We'll chat with everyone later. Bye.